Hello, everybody. Welcome to Heal From Within, your channel to help you understand everything there is to know about stress, but more importantly, how to live in wellness and health without stress and anxiety overwhelming you. My name is Sue Peng-Negrin, and I'm coming to you from Manhattan. And today we're going to talk about how stress shows up in our body, what we can do to stop it, and prevent it from coming back. Remember that I am going to be posting videos every week, so if you want to be notified, hit subscribe. If you like it, hit thumbs up and please share. What are the typical signs of stress? Most of you will probably know or have experienced stomach pain, tension throughout the body, shoulder and neck, headaches, low back pain. But have you thought about what happens if you don't manage the stress in your life and in your body properly and it becomes chronic? Well, here's where the cortisol, which is the stress hormone, starts to build up in your body and continues to live in this constant state, which causes inflammation. Inflammation means that your system is clogging up because your body is swelling. And all that swelling is preventing the body's flow of energy, blood, and fluids. And this causes heat in the body, which then starts to damage the functioning of the organs and joints, etc. So where does this all lead? To potentially more chronic ailments, like probably one of the biggest diseases that we are facing today is autoimmune, which is on the rise around the world. Stress is a big factor in so many diseases, including the big C, cancer. But am I saying that stress is the only cause? Of course not. We have diet, environmental, physical influences, chemicals, hormones. They're all factors into your health. And the more you expose your body to toxins and things that are generally not great for you, the more it's going to damage your body. It's a very simple formula. Let's use food as an example as a potential toxin. If you eat something bad for you a few times, your body's an incredible machine. It knows how to clear it and then rebalance our cells back to health. But what happens if you eat the same thing that's not good for your body over and over again? Let's say, for example, you eat dairy, and that's something your body naturally doesn't tolerate because each of us has something that our body doesn't like or doesn't agree with. And if we eat this like dairy over and over again, the body will start to weaken. And what's the first thing you're going to experience? Stomach pains. And that stomach pains can lead to a breakdown of other situations, like a lot of people start to get sinus issues, and then ultimately, left untreated, IBS. So here in this example, very simple, we should stop eating dairy. But let's talk about stress as a toxin. Stress is a toxin. It starts off being a mental and emotional tension or strain. And in a situation like a fight or flight where we have an emergency situation that causes us stress, our body, again, is incredible at handling these emergency situations. It releases the cortisol, but fight or flight is for emergency situations. And once that stressful situation is over, our healthy body can balance and resorb the stress hormone and go back to healthy living. But what happens in a chronic situation where we're putting our body through undue chronic stress? Well, in this chronic stress, the cortisol is then constantly attacking our body. If you can imagine, this constant state of tension causes this body to live in tightness, and our muscles are tight, our stomach gets tight. And let's say our stomach gets tight over and over again, this person will develop stomach pains. And then the body doesn't process the food as well because the stomach is in a constant state of knots. You will start to become sensitive to foods. right? That happens quite a bit. And then your sinuses may start to act up. I actually see this quite often where people start to say, well, I'm becoming more sensitive to certain foods, or sometimes they'll say, well, I can eat something sometimes, and then others, not other times. And then over the years, they develop IBS. And this now then presents very similarly to the person who was eating dairy all the time. But in this case, dairy isn't the problem, the stress is. So, how do we address health in Chinese medicine? Chinese medicine is great because we look at everything. We look at what you're eating, what your environment is, what your emotional and mental health is. And I took a particular interest in emotional and mental health, probably because my mom's a schizophrenic. And what's so interesting, though, is that later in her life, a Chinese doctor pieced together the circumstances in her life and actually thinks that she had postpartum that was left untreated, that now presents as schizophrenia. Well, did, because my mother is no longer alive. Well, that's really a lot to digest, and we may need to wait a while before I can tackle that one, but I will. So, how does Chinese medicine link emotions to the body? The Chinese recognizes that each emotion affects a particular organ in the body. And if we leave this emotion or the stress brewing too long, it's going to affect the functioning of that organ as well as the rest of our body. So, for example, grief in Chinese medicine affects lungs. Too much joy, like mania, will actually affect the heart. Anger affects the liver, and fear affects the kidneys. And guess where anxiety and worry affects? You got it, in the stomach. So let's use that for example, since we've been talking about stomach issues. If we are anxious all the time and we're worried, according to Chinese medicine, it's going to affect the health of our stomach. And what's amazing is even in Western science, we now know that there is a strong link between the brain and the gut. Because serotonin, which is a chemical that is a mood stabilizer that's produced in both the brain and in the stomach, although it's produced predominantly in the stomach. This is why many people who have IBS or maybe some other stomach issues can get relief from SSRI drugs like Prozac because it stabilizes serotonin in both the brain and the stomach. I really love it when Western science makes the discovery, and it's something that Chinese medicine has known for over 4,000 years. And we've known it with no technology, and we've developed it just based on the understanding of our relationship to the natural world we live in. Why? Because we've come from this natural world. And we're going to talk a lot about that in the future, because this is exactly how Chinese medicine works, by recognizing that you are part of everything natural in this world. And knowing how to live in harmony and relationship with it is paramount. Okay, let's get back to discussing SSRI drugs. Even if you get relief from these drugs, which many people do, and they're very beneficial, but if you don't also address the cause of stress, which is from mental and emotional reactions, then you're only treating a part of the picture. You're only treating the manifestation of the problem. And that's very much like saying, well, I know how to put out a fire, but I don't know how to prevent the fire from happening in the first place. So we're only addressing the wound, but we're not addressing what caused the wound. And this is why learning the root cause of any problem, including stress, is so important. Because if you don't correct the root cause of stress and you just heal the manifestation, it's going to continue to find other pathways in your body to inflict more wounds. I really hope you hear this loud and clear. If you only clear the manifestation of a disease and you don't correct what caused the disease in the first place, it's going to find another part of your body to attack. And again, this cause can be anything: diet, environmental, toxins, chemicals, and stress. But we need to know what caused it, and we need to stop it. So it's really important. That is why getting to the root cause is my passion and my mission. I want to help people get to the bottom of their problems. When somebody comes to me and they've usually built up a lot of toxic layers over the years, so the very first thing I do is what I call my removal process. We want to remove the negative suck energy that has lodged in our body, that have accumulated over the years. We want to continue to clear one layer by layer. So in my work, I actually have to physically get rid of the blocked areas. And at this point, regardless of what caused it, we just need to clear it. And the more severe the ailment is, the more toxins we have to clear. So in cases like autoimmune and cancer, which are generally diseases that are manifestations from a chronic imbalance of the body, these are blockages that have lived inside of us for quite some time. So after we've done the removal process, what's next? The restore process. So once we've cleared the body physically, now we need to reestablish the flow in the body, right? That the inflammation has impacted. So we've reestablished the flow in the body so that the body can learn to be healthy again and can regulate itself in emergency situations. When we've eaten bad food, how do we clear it on its own? And then how do we go back to normal functioning? So great, now we've got free flow going, the body's immune system is stronger. Now what's next? The last part, which I call return, for me is the most important. Once you've gotten your physical strength back, how do we prevent this stress cycle from repeating over and over again? This is where we really keep you strong. Here's where we get you back to living your true self. Why is your true self so important? Because you need to know how to live according to what works for you. You need to know what's right for your body, what's not right. You need to know what foods work well for you. You need to be able to stand up for yourself and not do things that continue to compromise your mental, emotional, and physical health. Because when you're compromising those areas, you are stressed and you are placing conflicts in your body. So when we do things that are not aligned with us, we're weakening, and then we allow and we're more susceptible for the stress to come in. Why is stress so dangerous when it comes in? Because stress acts like a tornado. It pulls everything in, weakens us. It causes us not to think clearly. It makes us more reactive, and we make poor decisions. And then if we don't know how to repair ourselves after that whirlwind has stopped, we remain weak and more susceptible to future stresses, even smaller ones. And have you noticed that when you're really stressed, that you can't even handle little problems? Even little problems become really big. Stress continues to depower us, and it keeps us in this vicious cycle of stress. This is dangerous. Why? Because at this state, it makes us feel like we no longer have control over our health and our life. We then just wait for our situation to change. And that's depowering and makes us feel helpless. This is truly what is happening today. Are you feeling this way, and are you unable to handle stress? If so, here's why. Because what you're probably learning today are visualization, maybe some tapping, coping skills, taking yoga classes, going to see an acupuncturist, getting a massage. And they're all amazing, don't get me wrong, but the problem with them is that you're only addressing how to relax yourself once you're already stressed. And that's fine, but the problem is that the stress is still coming in. And then in addition to that, what about the stress that you've built up over the years? Are you able to get rid of those layers on a deep level? Is your routine effective at doing that? And now let's say you're fortunate. You're able to clear the negative buildup, and you can get your body reestablished so it's flowing freely again, and you've got a great immune system so you can stay physically healthy. Can you stop your old mindset and emotional patterns that you've been living under for years and years and years to change that so that you don't allow your body to be overwhelmed with stress again? This, unfortunately, I think, is where most people have difficulties with. So if any of those cases are you, try my remove, reboot, and restore method. That will definitely get you back into the driver's seat of your life with strength and confidence. And this is going to get you back in touch with your true self. And if you approach stress in this manner, I guarantee it will work for you. It's worked for so many of my clients. So try my remove, reboot, and return process. And if you don't have someone to help you, look for somebody to help you do that. And if you still can't find it and you want more information about how I do it, please check out my website listed below. And I also have a free webinar that you can watch. So I hope you enjoyed this. Please remember to subscribe, like, and share this content with people you know that are struggling with stress and anxiety. It is an epidemic, and I'm out here to change the face of this stress epidemic. And with your help, I know we can do this. I love comments and questions, so please post whatever you'd like below. And until next time, live in positive chi.